Hello and welcome. My name is Roger Quayle, and you are listening to My Life in the Mosh of Ghosts. Hello there, and welcome back to My Life in the Mosh of Ghosts with me, your host, Roger Quayle, and thank you for joining me. So, from the glamour and squalor of Futurama 2 in Leeds, with Susie and the Banshees and a cast of thousands, we are back down to earth with the Naked Pygmy Voles, an obscure Sheffield band who tippy-toed on the tightrope between avant-garde and avant-a-clue, producing their own unique version of extreme noise terror. So here we go, it's the Naked Pygmy Voles upstairs at the Hallamshire Hotel in Sheffield on Thursday the 27th of November 1980. A Thursday night in the Beehive pub at the top of West Street. I'm here with bandmate Charlie Collins, Richard Kirk from the Cabs and his girlfriend Lynn Clark. This is their local, being, as it is, just a long mic lead from Cabaret Voltaire's studio around the corner at Western Works. And rolled up in my leather jacket pocket is this week's NME, and, on the cover, is Richard Kirk. Richard is a friend, but even so, I'm a little bit starstruck. True, our band has had reviews in the NME, Sounds and Melody Maker. But to be on the front cover is something altogether more impressive. I try to imagine 200,000 Richard Kirks impassively staring down the lens of Penny Smith's camera in newsagents from Penzance to Perthshire. Richard himself, a Broomhill bohemian in black leather jacket, baggy black peg pants and thick cascading hennaed hair, is typically matter-of-fact no big deal about it, only commenting on how brief the photo shoot was. We met her at the station. She told us to stand next to some puddles by the taxi rank. She took her pictures and then got the next train straight back down to London. Charlie and I leave them and make the short walk down West Street to the Hallamshire to see Naked Pygmy Voles. We've seen MPV before. They made their live debut opening for DVA at our Blitz gig at the George IV back in February. That night, Naked Pygmy Voles played Kumis, or possibly Sikmu. Music jumbled up into a strange, unintelligible language. Since then, head vole Tim Owen and his cohort in chaos Paul P.A. Wells have been joined by Charlie's pal, saxophonist Martin Archer. The Hallamshire attracts a younger, louder crowd than the Beehive. We make our way upstairs to a small function room with shabby banquet seating and arresting psychedelic cowpat wallpaper. There are about 30 like-minded souls in a venue, which is becoming a regular haunt for the band, who played here back in June. NMX, Sheffield's leading fanzine, have championed their wayward, uncompromising approach to music making. I've got to know Tim Owen a bit, having been round to his mum's house in Winkerbank for tea and tapes, and we share a mutual admiration for Cabaret Voltaire and Throbbing Gristle. By day, Tim works in a bank. By night, he chisels away at the impermeable concrete slab of noise that is Naked Pygmy Voles' basilica of bleakness. But he's funny and likes recording daft prank phone calls to hapless chippers and musical instrument shops. He also understands the value of myth-making. A disgusted of Tunbridge Wells type letter to NMX, in which Tom Bennett of Stoke-on-Trent fulminated about the NPV's approach to music making being a case in point.
I seriously believe they were playing games with the minds of people. What other motives could they have? No one could possibly enjoy this crap. I'm convinced it could have a harmful, unhealthy side effect if one were exposed to it for a long time. I suggest you take a deeper look at what appears to be developing into a cult, the most disturbing one in music yet. Yours sincerely, Tom Bennett, Stoke-on-Trent.
Naked Pygmy Voles don't play songs. Their music is largely improvised and open-ended. Nonetheless, I am surprised and somewhat heartened that the churning sonic cement of that debut gig has been loosened by the addition of Martin's fruity, swashbuckling saxophone, adding vivid chalk marks to a blackboard where once only fingernails scraped. 2 years ago, live exposure to this caterwauling would have sent me scurrying home to my Bebop Deluxe albums. However, under the tutelage of my very own Wizard of Weird, Charlie, I have come to learn the difference between Evan Parker and Charlie Parker. I know my AACM from my ECM, and I am aware that Nana Vasconcelos is not a Brazilian granny. Tim grapples with a guitar, coaxing muddy, Derek Bailey-like flurries of notes out of it, squabbling constantly with Martin's barrel over Niagara screaming and swooping sax lines. Their feverish battles play out on an oily alien surface created by Paul's seeping electronic unguents. Shrill, distorted cries and odd, arrhythmic stomps from Tim add to the Texas Chainsaw terror. Suddenly, two Floozy and the Banshees lasses, dolled up in ex-clothes PVC skirts and high-heeled boots, clatter through the door.
"Is this Debbie's party?"
says one of them, as the cacophony instantly tells her that they've got the wrong place, and off they rattle back down the stairs. Naked Pygmy Voles hurtle on regardless, en route to yet another caustic crescendo. Like a summer rose choking in a bramble patch, there are fleeting moments of great beauty here, if you know where to look. Time to go home. I head back downstairs, into the thrum and chatter of the Hallamshire bar. Spandau Ballet plays on the jukebox. Lads are knocking back pints, eyeing up the punky Debbie's Party girls from earlier. I step out onto West Street and it's snowing. Despite the sound muffling flurries, I can still hear the band charging and snorting away. A furious, squealing wild beast lost in a blizzard of noise. 3 days later, I buy the Sunday Times. Cosy Fanny Tootie from Throbbing Gristle is on the cover of the colour supplement, looking tanned and sexy in a silver bikini. I've met her backstage at Throbbing Gristle and DVA gigs, so I know her too. That's Richard Kirk and Cosy Fanny Tootie, two people I know on the cover of magazines within a week of each other. Our band has been busy. We've been away at a recording studio in Surrey with a 16-track mixing desk, a swimming pool and catering, guided by a proper producer who has worked with Bowie and Queen. The album is coming out in January. Surely my first magazine cover can't be too far away, can it? Naked Pygmy Voles returned to the Hallamshire to record Berlin Horse, a cassette-only release which came out in 1981. If you would like to hear it, it is available on the Sheffield Tape Archive website. Martin Archer left shortly after to join Dutty Ann, who mutated into bass tone trap. Martin runs an independent label, Discus Music, who have released over 70 albums to date. Professor Tim Owen was last heard of lecturing on psychology at Lancaster University. You have been listening to My Life in the Mosh of Ghosts with me, your host, Roger Quayle, and thank you for joining me. Thanks also to John Whyman for the guest voice, to Simon Elliott Kemp for the intro and outro music, and to Rionagh for the artwork. Join me again next time for another episode from my life in the Mosh of Ghosts. This is Roger Quayle saying thank you and bye bye.